You thought it was true love, but it was only a lesson meant to break you awake. You really believed it was love, didn't you? Not something temporary, not something weak, but something real, something that was meant to stay. You thought this time it would be different, this time you would not be the one left behind, and slowly, without even realizing it, you gave them everything. Your time, your energy, your emotions, your trust. Piece by piece you let them enter your world, and the more you gave, the more you felt connected, because in your heart it felt right, it felt safe, it felt like finally life was giving you what you always deserved. And maybe that is where it all began, not in reality but in your belief, because you were not just seeing them for who they were, you were seeing them for who you wanted them to be. Every small action felt special, every word felt deeper than it actually was. You started building a story in your mind, a future that had their name written all over it. You imagined moments that had not even happened yet. You trusted a feeling that was never fully proven, and slowly, without noticing, you stopped questioning anything, because when the heart gets attached, logic starts fading away. You ignored the signs, not because you were foolish but because you were hopeful, and hope can sometimes blind you more than anything else. You told yourself they are just busy, you told yourself they are just going through something, you kept making excuses for their absence, for their distance, for their silence, because accepting the truth felt heavier than holding on to an illusion, and deep down somewhere you knew something was off. But you chose to stay quiet, because losing them felt more painful than losing yourself. And that is where the lesson was quietly forming, not in the love you felt but in the way you forgot your own worth. You started giving more than you were receiving, you started chasing clarity that was never offered, you started waiting for effort that never came naturally, and instead of stepping back you stepped forward again and again, hoping that one day they would see your value, hoping that one day things would change. But the truth is, people rarely change when they are comfortable with how things already are. You see, it was never about them not understanding you, it was about them not choosing you, and that is a truth that hurts in a different way, because confusion can be explained but being an option can never be justified. You kept holding on thinking love means patience, love means sacrifice, love means staying no matter what, but real love does not make you question your place. Real love does not make you feel like you have to earn basic respect. Real love does not leave you guessing where you stand. And slowly the distance grew, not all at once but little by little. Messages became shorter, calls became rare, effort became inconsistent, and you felt it, you really did, but you kept holding on to the past version of them, the one who made you feel special in the beginning, because letting go of that version meant accepting that it no longer exists, and that is something the heart struggles to accept even when the mind already knows. You were not in love with who they are now, you were in love with who they once pretended to be, and that realization is what breaks you, because it makes you question everything. Was any of it real? Did they ever truly care? Or was it all just temporary attention that you mistook as something permanent? And the hardest part is not losing them, the hardest part is losing the version of yourself that believed in them so deeply. But here is what you need to understand: this was not a mistake, this was not something that happened to destroy you, this was something that happened to wake you up, because sometimes life removes people not because you are not enough, but because you were giving too much to the wrong place, and until you experience that kind of heartbreak you never truly learn where to draw the line. This lesson was never about them, it was about you, about how easily you ignore your own needs just to keep someone else in your life, about how you settle for half love because you are afraid of being alone, about how you attach your worth to how someone treats you, instead of how you see yourself. And once you see that clearly, everything starts to change. Because now you begin to realize that love should not feel like confusion, it should not feel like waiting, it should not feel like constantly proving yourself. Love should feel calm, it should feel secure, it should feel mutual, and anything that makes you question your value is not love, it is attachment mixed with illusion. And maybe right now it hurts, maybe you still miss them, maybe you still think about what could have been, but understand this, what you are feeling is not just love, it is withdrawal, it is your mind trying to let go of something it got used to, and that takes time, but pain is not your enemy here, pain is the signal that something inside you is shifting. You are not broken, you are waking up. And one day you will look back at this moment not with anger, not with regret, but with understanding, because you will see that this person did not come into your life to stay, they came to show you what you should never accept again, they came to reveal the parts of you that needed healing, they came to break the illusion you were living in. So no, it was not true love, not the kind you thought it was, but it was something important. It was a lesson powerful enough to change you, a lesson that forced you to see your own value, a lesson that reminded you that you deserve something real, something consistent, something that does not disappear when you need it the most. And now the choice is yours, you can either stay stuck in what you lost, or you can rise into what you have learned, because this pain is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your awakening, and now you are here, in that silent phase where everything feels different, where the noise is gone but the thoughts are louder than ever, where you no longer talk to them but somehow you still have conversations with them inside your head, replaying moments, rewriting endings, wondering what you could have done differently, wondering if things would have changed if you had just tried a little harder, and this is the part no one prepares you for. This is the part where you are forced to sit with yourself without distractions, without illusions, without the comfort of someone else's presence. Because when they left, they did not just take themselves away, they took the version of you that existed around them, the version that was soft, hopeful, emotionally invested, the version that believed in forever without hesitation. And now you feel like you do not recognize yourself anymore, like something inside you has shifted permanently, and the truth is it has, because pain changes you. Not always in a negative way but in a way that forces you to grow whether you are ready or not. You see, before this you loved without boundaries, you gave without limits, you trusted without questioning, and it felt beautiful at first, it felt pure. But now you understand that love without awareness can turn into self-neglect, because when you keep pouring into someone who is not pouring into you, you slowly start emptying yourself, and the worst part is you do not even notice it until you are completely drained. And that is exactly what this experience was meant to show you, not just who they were but who you became in the process of loving them. It was never just about their actions, it was also about your reactions, about how long you tolerated inconsistency, about how many times you ignored your intuition, about how many signs you chose not to see because your heart was louder than your inner voice. Now think about it honestly, how many times did you feel something was off but you stayed quiet? How many times did you feel like you were giving more but you convinced yourself that it was okay? How many times did you feel unappreciated but you still continued to show up with the same energy, hoping that one day things would balance out, hoping that one day they would realize your worth without you having to say it? But here is the truth that changes everything. People do not suddenly realize your value when you keep showing them they can live without it. People only understand your absence when your presence is no longer available to them, and that is why this lesson had to hurt, because if it did not hurt you would have stayed, you would have continued accepting less than you deserve. You would have kept shrinking yourself just to fit into a space where you were never fully appreciated. And maybe right now you are struggling to let go, not because they were perfect but because you invested so much of yourself into them. You gave your time, your energy, your emotions, and walking away feels like losing a part of yourself. But what you need to understand is you are not losing yourself, you are reclaiming yourself. You are taking back everything you gave to someone who did not know how to hold it properly. This is the shift, this is the moment where everything starts to change, not outside but inside you, because now you begin to see things differently, you begin to notice patterns you ignored before, you begin to understand that attention is not love, consistency is. You begin to realize that words mean nothing without actions behind them. You begin to understand that someone who truly values you will never make you question where you stand in their life. And slowly you stop chasing closure from them, because you start finding clarity within yourself. You stop waiting for an explanation that may never come, because you begin to accept that their actions were already the explanation. You stop looking for reasons to hold on, because you finally have enough reasons to let go. And yes, it still hurts. Healing is not instant. There will be days where you feel strong and days where you feel like you are back at the beginning. There will be moments where memories hit you unexpectedly, where a song, a place, a small detail reminds you of everything. But the difference now is you are no longer stuck. You are moving forward even if it feels slow, even if it feels messy. Because growth is not always visible, sometimes it happens quietly, in the way you start choosing yourself, in the way you start setting boundaries, in the way you start walking away from things that do not feel right anymore, and that is real strength, not pretending you do not care, but caring enough about yourself to not accept what hurts you repeatedly. And one day something shifts completely. One day you wake up and you realize you are no longer thinking about them the way you used to, the emotional weight is lighter, the attachment is weaker, and for the first time you feel free, not because they came back, but because you finally let go. That is when you truly understand the purpose of this lesson. It was never meant to give you love, it was meant to prepare you for real love. It was meant to raise your standards, to teach you the difference between attention and intention, between temporary feelings and genuine commitment. Because the next time you love, it will not be from a place of emptiness, it will not be from a need to be chosen, it will be from a place of self-awareness, where you know your worth, where you know what you deserve, where you no longer settle for half-effort or mixed signals. And the most powerful part of all this is this: the person you are becoming now would never accept what you once tolerated. The version of you that was broken is slowly turning into a version that is unshakable, more aware, more grounded, more selective, and that is the real transformation. So do not regret this experience, do not wish it never happened, because without it you would still be the same person, still making the same mistakes, still ignoring the same signs. This pain came to upgrade you, not to destroy you. You thought it was true love, but it was something even more important. It was the moment your life forced you to wake up, and once you are awake, you can never go back to sleep, and now something inside you is no longer the same, not completely healed, not completely unaffected, but different in a way that you cannot ignore anymore. Because after everything you went through there is a quiet strength building within you. A version of you that sees things more clearly, that feels things more deeply but also understands when to step back, and this is where your real transformation begins, not when the pain disappears but when you stop letting it control you. You remember how you used to be, how easily you would give your energy away, how quickly you would attach, how deeply you would invest without making sure the other person was doing the same, and now when you look back it almost feels like you were living on autopilot, like you were following emotions without questioning them, like you were searching for something outside that you had not fully built within yourself. And that awareness alone changes everything. Because now you are not just feeling, you are observing. you are noticing patterns, you are recognizing the difference between real connection and temporary excitement, you are no longer impressed by words alone, you are no longer moved by empty promises, because you have learned the hard way that consistency is louder than anything someone can say. And this new version of you is quieter but stronger. You do not need to prove your worth anymore. You do not feel the urge to chase someone just to feel chosen. You are no longer afraid of losing people who do not see your value, because you have already experienced that loss and you survived it. And once you survive something like that, it removes a certain fear from your life, a fear that once controlled your decisions. Now you understand that being alone is not the worst thing, being in the wrong connection is. You understand that peace is more valuable than temporary happiness. You understand that not every connection deserves your full energy, and this is where your standards begin to rise naturally, not out of ego but out of self-respect. And the most powerful shift is this: you stop looking for someone to complete you, you start becoming complete on your own, you start building a life that does not depend on someone else's presence. You start finding happiness in your own growth, in your own journey, in your own progress, and suddenly love is no longer something you need, it becomes something you choose. That is when everything changes. Because when you stop needing love, you stop accepting less than you deserve, you stop tolerating confusion, you stop entertaining inconsistency, you stop making excuses for people who do not show up for you, and instead of chasing you start attracting, because your energy is no longer desperate, it is grounded, it is calm, it is self-assured. And people can feel that. They can feel when you are no longer trying to impress them, they can feel when you are not afraid to walk away, they can feel when your presence is a choice not a need, and that energy is rare, that energy is powerful, that energy changes the way people treat you. But here is something even deeper: the same person who once broke you no longer has the same power over you, their absence does not feel like a loss anymore, their memory does not carry the same weight, and one day you will realize that you have outgrown the version of them you once held onto so tightly. And that realization is freeing. Because now you see everything for what it was, not a love story but a turning point. Not something that ruined you but something that redirected you, not something that took away your happiness but something that forced you to find it within yourself. And when you reach this point, you no longer ask why it happened, you start understanding why it had to happen, you start seeing how every moment, every emotion, every breakdown was shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more aware. And the most beautiful part of this transformation is this: you do not hate them, you do not carry bitterness, because you understand that they were just a part of your journey, a chapter that had to end for your story to move forward, and once you let go of resentment you create space for something better to enter your life. Because real love, the kind that is meant for you, will not confuse you, it will not make you question your worth, it will not make you feel like you are too much or not enough, it will meet you where you are, it will match your energy, it will respect your boundaries, and most importantly it will feel peaceful, not chaotic. But this time you will be ready. Not because you are searching for it, but because you have become someone who will not settle for anything less, someone who understands the value of their own energy, someone who knows that love is not about losing yourself but about growing together. And until that love arrives, you are not waiting, you are evolving, you are building yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you are becoming the best version of yourself, not for someone else but for you, because now you understand that the relationship you have with yourself sets the standard for every other relationship in your life. So you do not rush anymore. You do not force connections anymore. You do not chase people who are unsure about you. Because you have learned that what is truly meant for you will not require you to beg for attention or fight for consistency, it will flow naturally, it will feel right without confusion. And that is your comeback. Not proving anything to them, not showing them what they lost, but becoming someone who no longer needs validation from the people who fail to see your worth, becoming someone who is so aligned with themselves that anything misaligned naturally falls away. You thought it was true love, but it was something far more powerful. It was the moment that changed your direction, the moment that forced you to grow, the moment that broke you just enough to rebuild you into someone stronger than before. And now you are not the same person who once begged for clarity. Now you are the person who walks away from confusion. Now you are the person who chooses peace over attachment. Now you are the person who knows their worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. This is your awakening. This is your power. And this time, you are not losing yourself in love. This time, you are finding yourself through it, and now when you stand here, after everything you have felt, everything you have lost, everything you have understood, you begin to realize something that once felt impossible to accept. You were never actually losing them, you were losing an illusion, and illusions always feel heavier when they break because they were built on hope, not truth. And hope can make even the wrong person feel right for a very long time. There was a time when you thought they were your answer, your missing piece, the one who would finally bring stability into your life, the one who would stay when everyone else left, but now you see it differently. Now you understand that you were trying to find in them something you had not fully built within yourself, a sense of security, a sense of validation, a sense of being enough. And because of that you gave them more power over your emotions than they ever deserved. But look at you now. You are still here. You went through the confusion, the overthinking, the sleepless nights, the emotional exhaustion. You faced the silence, you faced the absence, you faced the truth even when it hurt more than anything, and yet you did not disappear, you did not break beyond repair. Instead you adapted, you learned, you grew. And that right there is your power, a power you did not even realize you had until life forced you to see it. Because not everyone can go through that kind of emotional storm and come out with clarity, not everyone can turn pain into awareness, not everyone can take heartbreak and use it as a reason to become better instead of becoming bitter, but you did, even if it took time, even if it was messy, even if you doubted yourself along the way. You still moved forward. And now something inside you refuses to go back to who you used to be. You cannot ignore red flags the way you once did. You cannot accept bare minimum the way you once tolerated. You cannot lose yourself in someone else the way you once allowed. Because awareness once gained cannot be undone. And that is the real awakening. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is quiet but permanent. It is in the way you think now, in the way you observe people, in the way you protect your energy, in the way you choose peace over temporary excitement, and this shift is what separates the old you from the new you. The old you was driven by emotion, the new you is guided by understanding. The old you chased connection, the new you attracts alignment. The old you ignored yourself to keep others, the new you chooses yourself even if it means walking away. And this is where your life starts changing in ways you cannot fully see yet. Because once you stop settling for less, you create space for more. Once you stop chasing, you allow what is right to find you. Once you stop doubting your worth, you stop entertaining anything that makes you feel small. And slowly, without forcing anything, your entire reality begins to shift. You start meeting different people, experiencing different energy, feeling a different kind of connection. one that does not feel rushed, one that does not feel confusing, one that does not leave you questioning everything, and for the first time you understand what it means when something feels right without chaos. But even before that happens, the most important relationship you rebuild is the one with yourself. You start trusting your instincts again. You start listening to your inner voice instead of silencing it. You start giving yourself the same love, the same patience, the same understanding that you once gave to someone else. And that is where real healing happens. Not when someone new enters your life, but when you no longer feel incomplete without them. Because now you are not searching for someone to fix you. You are no longer looking for someone to fill a void. You are no longer trying to escape loneliness through attachment. You are standing strong on your own, and any connection that comes into your life now will be an addition, not a necessity. And that changes everything. Because when love becomes a choice, not a need, you start choosing wisely. You start valuing consistency over intensity. You start valuing effort over promises. You start valuing peace over drama. And most importantly, you start valuing yourself above everything else. And one day, without even realizing it, you will cross a point where the past no longer has control over you. The memories will still exist, but they will not hurt the same. The person will still exist, but they will not matter the same. And the version of you that once cried over them will feel like a distant memory. Not because your feelings were fake, but because you have grown beyond that version of yourself. And when you look back, you will not feel anger, you will not feel regret, you will feel gratitude. Gratitude for the lesson. Gratitude for the growth. Gratitude for the transformation. Because you will finally understand that if that situation had not broken you, it would have never awakened you. You thought it was true love, but it was something far greater. It was a turning point. It was a redirection. It was life stepping in and saying, this is not where you belong. And now you are no longer the same person who once held on to something that was not meant for them. Now you are someone who recognizes their value, someone who respects their energy, someone who knows exactly what they deserve and refuses to accept anything less. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of a completely new version of you. A version that is stronger. A version that is wiser. A version that no longer confuses attention with love. A version that no longer begs for what should be given freely. A version that walks away from anything that does not align with their worth. And this time, when love comes into your life, it will not break you. It will meet you. It will understand you. It will stay. Because this time, you are not just ready for love. You are ready for the right love. And that changes everything, and now this is where everything comes together, not in a loud dramatic way but in a quiet understanding that settles deep inside you, a realization that you no longer need to chase what is meant for you, a clarity that you no longer have to question your worth just because someone failed to see it, and for the first time in a long time you feel something different, not attachment, not desperation, not confusion, but peace, a kind of peace that does not depend on anyone staying or leaving, a kind of peace that comes from knowing that you are enough on your own, that you always were. You just forgot it for a while when you started seeing yourself through someone else's eyes instead of your own. You remember how it used to feel, how one message from them could change your entire mood, how their attention felt like validation, how their absence felt like rejection, and now when you look back at that version of yourself you do not judge it, you understand it, because that version of you was simply trying to feel loved, trying to feel important, trying to feel chosen, and there is nothing wrong with that. But what you did not realize back then was that you were giving someone else the power to decide how you feel about yourself, and that is a power no one should ever hold over you. Now things are different. Now you do not wait for someone to text you to feel good about your day. Now you do not depend on someone's presence to feel complete. Now you do not ignore your own needs just to keep someone else comfortable, because you have learned the hard way that the moment you abandon yourself for someone else is the moment you start losing everything that truly matters, and this time you are not willing to lose yourself again. Not for attention, not for temporary feelings, not for something that does not give you the same energy in return. And the most powerful shift is that you are no longer afraid of endings. Before this you held on tightly because you thought losing someone meant losing everything, but now you understand that endings are not losses, they are redirections. They are life's way of removing what no longer aligns with you. They are the space creators that allow something better to enter, and once you truly accept that, you stop resisting change. You stop trying to force things to stay when they are clearly meant to leave. You start trusting that whatever is meant for you will not require you to fight for basic understanding or beg for consistency. You have grown in ways that no one else can fully see. You have fought battles in your own mind. You have sat with your thoughts when they were heavy. You have picked yourself up on days when you felt like you had no strength left, and through all of that you have built a version of yourself that is stronger than before. Not because life became easier, but because you became wiser, because you learned how to protect your energy, how to walk away when something feels wrong, how to choose yourself, even when it is difficult. And now when love comes into your life again, and it will, you will not approach it the same way, you will not rush into it blindly, you will not ignore the signs, you will not lose yourself in the process. This time you will move with awareness, you will observe actions, not just words, you will pay attention to consistency, not just intensity, you will choose someone who chooses you clearly without confusion, without mixed signals, without making you feel like you have to earn a place in their life. Because now you understand what real love feels like. It feels calm, it feels stable, it feels secure. It does not feel like a constant emotional roller coaster. It does not leave you questioning everything. It does not make you feel anxious about where you stand. And most importantly, it does not require you to become someone else just to be accepted. Real love meets you as you are and grows with you. It does not break you to teach you your worth. It respects your worth from the beginning. And even if love takes time to find you, you are no longer in a hurry, because you have built a life that does not feel empty without it. You have learned how to enjoy your own company, how to grow on your own, how to find happiness in your own journey, and that independence is what makes your future relationships stronger, because you are not entering them out of need, you are entering them out of choice. So you no longer look back with pain. You no longer replay old memories wishing they ended differently, you no longer hold on to what could have been, because you understand that what was meant for you would have stayed without forcing, without confusion, without making you feel less than you are, and that understanding frees you. It releases you from the weight of the past. It allows you to move forward without carrying unnecessary emotional baggage. You thought it was true love, but now you see it for what it really was, a lesson, a turning point, a moment that changed your direction completely, and even though it hurt, even though it broke you at one point, it also rebuilt you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows their value, someone who no longer settles for anything that does not align with their worth. And that is your power now. the ability to walk away from what is not right, the ability to choose yourself without guilt, the ability to recognize when something is not meant for you and let it go without losing yourself in the process. And once you have that power, no one can take it away from you. No one can make you feel small unless you allow them to. No one can confuse you unless you ignore what you already know. This is your closure, not from them but from within yourself. This is your moment of understanding, your moment of acceptance, your moment of stepping into a new version of your life where you are no longer defined by what you lost but by what you have become, and what you have become is someone who is no longer afraid to stand alone, someone who no longer depends on external validation, someone who knows exactly who they are and what they deserve. And as you move forward from here, you carry this lesson with you not as pain but as wisdom, not as a wound but as strength, because this experience did not just teach you about love, it taught you about yourself, it showed you your depth, your resilience, your ability to rise even after falling, and that is something no one can ever take away from you. So no, it was not true love the way you once believed, but it was something meaningful, something necessary, something that had to happen to bring you to this point, to this awareness, to this version of yourself that you are becoming now, and in the end that matters more than anything else. Because now you are not searching for someone to complete you. Now you are complete, and anyone who enters your life from this point forward will have to meet you at that level, or they simply will not stay.